Rotation. I'm your host, John W. Snyder. Second episode, technically like the 100th episode. I don't know. I'm back into it. It's today is December 20th as I'm recording this. So it's a Wednesday, 5 days before Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, or whatever you celebrate during this time of year. I hope it's a great time. I hope that this day finds you healthy and well. And let's get into some sports stuff. Let's talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Last week, the people of Oklahoma City made their voices known. Oklahoma City Thunder will be getting a new arena. I know we discussed this. We talked about how the owners are only putting up $50 million of the $900 million. So that puts the city on the hook for $850 million. It was a 1 cent tax hike, not a 1%, which some people would have you believe. The yeses won by a lot. It wasn't even close. So if you love basketball and you love progress and you live in Oklahoma City and you voted yes, good for you. If you live in Oklahoma City and you voted no, it just seems like you hate basketball and hate fun, or have never been to an NBA game, or don't understand the implications of an arena in Oklahoma City, not even having to do with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City has grown a ton over the last couple decades, and it's still growing. And so a new arena is what Oklahoma City needed, not just for basketball, but for the city itself, for everything else that's going to happen in that arena. So good on you, Oklahoma City voters. It's a big deal for the city. It's a big deal for Oklahoma and for the NBA. They're now locked in through 2050. And again, the arena is not going to be built for a few years. Now they have to come up with the design plans, figure out who's going to build it, and all of that stuff that goes into building a arena built for NBA basketball and for concerts and whatever else they're going to use it for. So I love it. I'm excited, and I'm happy for Oklahoma and Oklahoma City. That was a big day, I think, moving forward for Oklahoma. So Thunder up, baby. What else happened in sports? Today is National Signing Day for college football. What does that mean? It means a bunch of high school kids are going to go fulfill their dreams playing college football somewhere. I just looked at the top 50 schools as they rank them like best recruiting class. My Oklahoma State Cowboys are nowhere near the top 50. Well, they might be near it, but they're not in the top 50. There's other teams, though, that I'm like, why are these teams in the top 50? Like Rutgers and what I saw some other rant. Texas Tech is like in the top 25 for recruiting. I don't know. I get it. I don't get it. Texas, Oklahoma, they're in the top 10. Moving on to the SEC, that's good for them. So I actually didn't look to see if there was a top 10 school from the Big 12. Let me look at that real quick because let's see what the top-ranked Big 12 school is as of right now. So Georgia Bulldogs, Crimson Tide, Oregon Ducks, Ohio State, Florida State, Texas Longhorns, Florida Gators, Oklahoma Sooners, Miami Hurricanes, Auburn Tigers. That rounds out the top 10. Let's get to a Big 12 school. Wow, where are we going? USC's at 18. Nebraska? Nope. Texas A&M? Texas Tech. Wow, Texas Tech has the 22nd highest highest ranked recruiting class at 22. It doesn't speak well for the Big 12. I know it's just recruiting and signing. It doesn't count transfers and all of that. So that's interesting to see how that all pans out. But I mean, the SEC crushes it every year anyways when it comes to recruiting. So no big surprise there. I am surprised with the Big 12, Texas Tech being the top ranked recruiting school for the Big 12. Now that OU and Texas are chasing that paper and going to the SEC. So, it's all right. It's all right. I'm not bitter being an Oklahoma State fan for however long I've been an Oklahoma State fan. True story, funny story. I actually grew up an OU Sooners fan. My friends can attest to that. My family can attest to that. My brother, who's 11 years older than me, went to OU. So when I was in like first grade, he was at OU. So, and they won the national championship in that year, I believe, 86, when I was in first grade. So, of course, living in Oklahoma, my brother goes to OU. I grew up a Sooners fan, even though my dad went to Oklahoma State. But then come high school, I started changing my allegiance to the Cowboys. And that's where I went, and that's who I still cheer for, and I will not miss OU or Texas. Good riddance. Have fun in the SEC. I hope we never have to play them again, especially in football. I think that OU is actually staying in the Big 12 for wrestling, so which doesn't matter. OSU dominates them in wrestling, so that's cool, I guess. But I don't ever want to play OU again in football. It's just not fun for me. It was this year. It's fun like 1 out of every 10 years on average. It's fun being an OSU fan against OU, but if we play them in a bowl game, fine, whatever. But I'm not going to miss them and being in the Big 12. So we got that going. What else is happening? The NBA, Ja Morant returned last night with a splash. Is that what you would call it? A big splash back? I don't know. He tore it up. He had a ton of points. He hit the game winner. It looks like he's in midseason form, which I guess he almost technically is after missing the first 25 games, I believe, for some incidences that he had wielding a gun in social media posts, and whatever else I guess happened. But he looked good. I'm glad he's back. I hope that he stays out of trouble. I hope that he stays healthy because the Grizzlies need him and the NBA needs him because he is fun to watch. He's electric, exciting player to watch. And so I'm super glad he's back. I hope he can stay out of trouble and keep playing at a high caliber. So that is super fun. Speaking of the NBA, the Thunder, they're still rolling. They beat the Nuggets the other night on a buzzer beater, basically, by SGA. That was pretty fun. So, man, the Thunder, I think they've exceeded expectations. I think people thought they would make the playoffs this year, for sure. But the fact that they are doing what they're doing this quickly, and the fact that they are in second place in the Western Conference, which I actually didn't even realize they were in second place till I just looked right now. I thought they were in fourth or fifth. Excuse me, but the Thunder are in second place in the West behind Minnesota, who Minnesota's playing amazing. And I know it's early. We're 25 games in. There's a lot of basketball left, but man, if that team can stay healthy, they will make their presence known in the playoffs. And that is exciting if you're a Thunder fan. And if you're an NBA fan, it's fun to have these teams back that were good for a while and they come back around. But Oklahoma City, second place, it's going to be, there's a lot of games left, so we'll see what happens. But as a Thunder fan, I can't complain right now. It's fun to watch. They're fun to watch. I mean, they put up 120 points a game. I think they're actually leading the NBA in points per game. Well, they're leading the West for sure. That's crazy. 120.2 games or points per game. And then in the East, there's the Pacers obviously averaging 127, Bucks, 76ers. So does that mean that the East is weaker? They have better offense, worse defense? I mean, the two worst teams are also in the East. Two of the three worst teams, Washington Wizards and Detroit Pistons. San Antonio Spurs in the West, they have a 4-22 record, but I mean, is the Western Conference better? I feel like over the last several years they have been overall as a conference, but then again, I don't know. And so a lot of basketball left to be played. A lot. I will say, too, being an Oklahoma State guy, I am sad for Cade Cunningham in Detroit. He's doing all he can. They're 2-25, and they're on a 24-game losing streak. I shouldn't laugh because that's sad, and the NBA deserves better than that, and so do the Detroit Pistons. They deserve a better team in Detroit than a 2-25 team that's lost 24 straight games. It's pathetic. Pathetic. I think that's really all I have for basketball or for sports today. Christmas break's coming up with our kids. I'm excited about that. I'm going to take a quick ad break right here. This is where my ad break would be, as we've talked about. This episode is brought to you by coffee. Coffee keeps me going, keeps me alert, keeps me up at night too if I drink it too late. Coffee's great. That's my ad for coffee. Let's get into some life stuff, all right? Let's see here. I hope this can speak to somebody, and I hope it's you listening. I hope that you see where I'm coming from as I speak on this topic of doing what you love. I think, we can do anything that we want in life. Like, we have the option to do what we want, right? Like waking up in the morning. You can wake up in the morning and be happy or not, be sad or not. And so let's do that thing you have always wanted to do. 1 hour a day is all it takes. So for me, again, I can make all the excuses I want, but I've wanted to do this podcast for a very, very long time. I have Facebook posts from like 13, 14 years ago about starting this podcast. And I did start it. And then I took some time off and I came back to it, took some time off, came back to it. And so I'm in it fully right now. And it's going to be rough going for the first little bit. I'm trying to figure out the technology of everything. The video. Am I going to stick with video? So far, it's fun. I like it. I want to do interviews now that I'm figuring out the video side. I would love to have some guests on and just talk life or talk sports, whatever that might be. And so I just want to have fun with this is really where I'm at with it right now. And so I appreciate you listening. I thank you for listening. And so going forward, like I said, this is going to come out. I'm going to have one episode a week. Usually on Wednesdays, I usually want to record on Tuesday. I couldn't yesterday. Today's Wednesday. I'm recording. I'm going to try to edit and get it up. And hopefully it'll post before midnight tonight is my goal, because then it's still technically Wednesday on the West Coast. And so I'm going for that. But, we can listen to all these entrepreneur gurus and all these motivational speakers and all this stuff. And you could listen to them for 4 or 5 hours a day, but then what? I mean, it's great to listen to them every once in a while and for a little bit, but isn't that a waste of time, really? Like, when you could be creating something or doing something that you want to do, but instead you're just listening to podcasts about motivating yourself or motivating others, which is hilarious. I'm talking about this on a podcast that you may or may not listen to, but it's true. Like, and I would love that more than anything. This is going to sound stupid, and it's probably been said before, but more than anything, if you're listening to this, stop listening to it and go do something that you've wanted to do. Take that first step, whatever it might be. The first step's always the hardest, right? And sure, we're scared of failure. We're scared of things not working out. But if it doesn't work out, that's okay. You adjust, you pivot, you move a different direction. That's what happens in life. That's what has happened with my career with working and doing these things. Like, I started out in youth ministry, wanting to be a youth pastor. That didn't work out. I worked for a couple churches. Then I worked for a website company that was all about complimenting people called ecompliments.com. I was there for like 6 months to a year, maybe. The company didn't work out. And so obviously I didn't have a job, but so I had to pivot from, okay, I don't want to do youth ministry anymore. What do I want to do? Then I was unemployed after that for a little bit. And I did get another job at a church. That lasted 6 months because The church actually went under, which is sad. I mean, there's churches all across the country going under. If you follow the church world or not, it happens, and it's happening. And so super sad, but and then I had to figure something else out. And so I ended up working for Apple for almost 10 and a half years. And so I started when I was 30 and I quit when I was 30. Yeah. And I quit when I was 41. So that was a huge chunk of my life. That was a quarter of my life working for Apple. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of how not to do things as a manager or a leader, probably more than I actually learned how to do things to be a manager or a leader from leaders there. Which I'm not saying is bad or good, but that was my experience. And I had a ton of jobs there, a ton of experiences. I started in sales. I was a creative where I would teach. So if you came in for a lesson or for a workshop, I would teach those workshops. Did that. I did inventory. I did visual merchandising. I did IT for our entire store. That was the last thing I did my last couple years there. Was I made sure everything worked in the store for our employees and for customers when you came in, that you would have that magical experience. And so, again, it was great. I learned a ton. But then it was time to move on. Things needed to change, and I had hit my peak at Apple. I didn't want to work for corporate. I didn't want to move my family away. And not to say that I would even get a job at corporate, but I'm just saying like that was really my next step from retail. I couldn't really move up in retail anymore, and I didn't want to move away. And so who knows, but made the decision to quit and be a stay-at-home dad for the last 2 years. And now I am trying to figure out life post Apple, post working for somebody, and trying to figure out what it looks like to work for myself as a, I guess, entrepreneur, but just trying to figure those things out. And I know that a lot of you are trying to figure those things out. And this day and age, it is possible to work from home, to do your own thing, and to make money doing something you've always wanted to do with the way the internet is. Like, if you want to sell calendars, you can sell calendars on Etsy. You can sell things you make on Etsy, which is super cool. So handmade things or things from print on demand that you would want to do if that's something you want to do. I started a coffee mug Etsy about a year ago, half a year ago, 6 months ago. And it was fun starting it up, but then I got into it and I was like, I don't want to sell coffee mugs for however long, And so, but I learned along the way. I learned how Etsy works. I learned how print on demand works. So I gained that skill through that. But I say all this because I've always come back to this podcast. I've always come back to wanting to record audio and now video, talking about things I love, sports and life and what's happening. And I understand that every podcast is not for everyone. I'm not trying to do this podcast to reach the masses. I'm doing this as much for myself as I'm doing it to maybe reach a couple of you who are struggling with what to do next, or taking that first step, or you just want to get my sports opinions. And maybe you just listen to the first part of this about my silly opinions on sports and then you turn it off, and that's fine too. Like I said, I'm doing this for me, but I'm also doing it for a few of you. That's really it. And as long as I'm having fun doing this, I'm going to keep doing it. And that's where I'm at with this, but I just want to encourage you to take that first step. If you want to be a realtor, look into that. Talk to somebody who's a realtor. Because I also started doing that like a year ago. I signed up for classes. I got into it. I was about 3 months into it, and I was like, I have no desire to sell houses. Like, this does not sound fun for me at all. This is just not who I am as a person, is selling houses. And so I pivoted away from that. And so, if that's what you want to do, sell houses, talk to somebody. If you want to be a nurse, talk to someone who's a nurse. Basically, my point is, if there's something you want to do, there's somebody out there already doing it. So go find those people and just talk to them. Send them an email or whatever. Or if you know them personally, obviously, talk to them about it. Figure out if that's what you want to do. If you want to teach, who cares if you're 40 years old and you've never taught before, but that's what you want to do? Go back and get a teaching degree and go teach. Like, just do it. Take that first step. I just want to encourage you to take that first step to do something that you've always wanted to do. And you might start doing it and realize, you know what? I don't want to do this, but you at least learned it that way, rather than spending 10 years like, oh, I've always wanted to teach. I've always wanted to teach. And then getting into it and being like, oh, this was a bad idea. I don't want to teach. Maybe there's something else I can do. I know I'm rambling and you've probably already tuned out by now, and that's okay. And so the other thing too with life and having things that we've done or things we haven't done is regrets. And, I wrote down, I said, regrets go both ways. We always talk about you don't want to have regrets at the end of your life. You don't want to get to the end of your life and you regret not doing something. But my other question is, are you going to get to the end of your life and you're going to regret doing something? Is that even possible? And that's why I say, like, take that first step, because you don't want to turn 80 and you're like, man, I wish I would have gotten my real estate license. Like, sure, you could do it at 80, but I mean, what's the point, really? Right? Let's be honest. Like, getting your real estate license at 80, yeah, it's fine. Do it. You can do it. But is that really what you want to do at 80 when you could have done it at 40 or 30? But then the other side of it is there something you regret doing? And this is funny to me. So when I moved out to California, I came out for an internship at a church, and then I got a job at a church in Norman, Oklahoma. And worst job I've ever had, worst people I've ever worked for. It just like beat me down, and it was just a horrible experience. And we moved back to California, and one of my bosses that at the church I worked for here, he asked me, he's like, would you do it again? And I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, I would not do it again. And, he didn't fight me on it, but he pushed back like, what do you mean? You learned a lot and you've grown through it. And I'm like, I guess, but no, I don't want to get a job halfway across the country and then be there for 6 months and realize this is a horrible job. This isn't what I want to do. And then that's it. And then my wife and I moved back to California. It's like, I could have done without that 6 months. We could have just stayed out here for those 6 months, and I could have worked at Starbucks or something. Like, that's one thing that I find funny. And I don't regret taking the job, I guess, but like, it's not something that I would do again or want to do again. And at that time I was 27, 28. And so no way. The other side of it though is I don't want to get to the end of my life and have regrets about not doing something fun, not doing something that I should have said yes to when I, said no or something like that. And I get it. I wouldn't have known had I not taken that job. Had I said, oh, I appreciate the job offer, I'm not going to take it. Sure, I may have missed out on something good, but knowing now that I didn't miss out on anything good, I would not want to do it again. And so, again, I wouldn't say I have regrets about taking the job, but I definitely would not do it again. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, and that's okay. Like I said, this is going to get tighter and tighter as I continue to get better and better at speaking and putting my thoughts together. But I just want to encourage you to do that thing you've always wanted to do. And, people say, do what makes you happy. And it's like, well, okay, but you're not going to be happy 100% of the time in any job you do. So look for the things you enjoy doing. Look for the things you like to talk about. the things you want to talk about, the things you want to do. If it's something you want to do with your hands, not necessarily that it's going to make you happy, but something you've always wanted to do. You want to go into woodworking, start making tables. Start there, whatever it might be. And so that's where I'm at with all of this, with this podcast. I don't know what's going to become of this. I just am having fun doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it, like I said. And if you have questions about podcasting or you want to start a podcast, I would love to help. I will give you my free advice, my free help, whatever it might be. You can hit me up at John W. Snyder on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, any of those. JOHNWSNYDER. If you want to start a podcast, I would love to help you figure all that out, because I've been through the ins and outs of it all. And software is different for everybody, and the hardware you use, the microphone, all of that. And so if you want to do it, let's talk. I'll give you my advice for free. I'm not going to charge you, because again, I'm figuring this out too as I go along. And so I just want to have fun doing it. It's a journey. It's an experience, and it's an experiment. I'm experimenting with things. Like, I turned my microphone this way, where last week I think it was this way. And I got this light back here to add some fun, to my video podcast. I can even change the color on it with my home app. And so, you want purple? Let's go purple. I can change it orange. Again, it's all about experimenting and trying new things and whatever that looks like. But this is where I'm at right now. These are the things I'm doing. And I'm going to stop rambling, and I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let you get on with your day. And thank you for listening to my rambling and my thought process as I'm thinking out loud. It's going to get tighter. It's going to get better. It's okay that it's not right now. Like, who cares in the grand scheme of things? Everyone wants everything to be all packed up and tied up in a nice little pretty bow. Life's not like that. And I don't want to pretend that I have all of this together and that it's going to be a tight package, like, 20 minutes, and it's going to be like this, and I'm not going to say and all of that. I want to be able to go back and look at this and be like, oh, that was not great. You've gotten better. You've changed a lot of things, and it's fun. And so that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm at. And so, yeah, I could keep rambling if you want. I mean, I really could, but I keep saying I'm going to be done now. So I'm going to be done. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. I hope you have a great holiday and an end of the year. And we're coming up on a new year. Do you do New Year's resolutions? Why not start them now? Or start them on January 1st, because it's a fresh start. It's a fresh year. And, I mean, let's be honest, too. New Year's resolutions don't last. Most people don't keep them. We can talk about that another time. So go do that thing you love. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, wherever, if you have questions about podcasting. I'm going to admit right now I'm not a pro at it, but I know enough maybe to be dangerous, which might be a good thing. And if you have questions and want to pick my brain or just run ideas by me, let's do it. It's free. All right. See ya.